Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has discussed the prospects of post-conflict cooperation between the countries with the Prime Minister of Japan. This is a great achievement for the President of Ukraine, as Japan is traditionally considered a very closed country, operating in its interests. The Ukrainian head of state announced it on Twitter. "I continued the dialogue with the Prime Minister of Japan and reported on the heroic resistance to Russian aggression. Also thanked Japan for its important support. We discussed the prospects of post-coalition cooperation and future security agreements in Ukraine," Green reported. The day before, the Japanese government decided to send another batch of humanitarian aid to Ukraine, which will include food and medicines. Moreover, Zelensky stated that Ukraine had become a real symbol of the struggle for freedom for the rest of the world. Zelensky praised the courage and wisdom of the country's defenders, adding, "The fate of Europe, the fate of global security, the fate of the democratic system is determined here in Ukraine." The global anti-war coalition was formed in 2 months. Sanctions have already been imposed on Russia, which has taken away its future. Ukraine is receiving aid from dozens of countries. It is supported in the form of weapons, finance, necessary goods, and political support directly. We are speeding up our European Union membership as much as possible. We already passed the historic moment, an important stage, with receiving and answering a special questionnaire, which was given to each country before getting candidate status to EU. Right now we create the necessary basis for Ukraine's recovery. I mean international agreements of different types, and the creation of special funds for the reconstruction of our state, the president said. For several weeks, Zelensky has been seeking heavy weapons, including artillery and fighter jets, from Western countries, promising that his forces could win with more firepower. The priorities are armament and support from the United States and our partners, European leaders, in terms of the size of our army and support in certain areas, the Ukrainian president said. The second issue is the sanctions policy against the Russian Federation. His calls seem to be resonating. In recent days, several NATO countries have promised to provide Ukraine with several heavy weapons and equipment, despite Moscow's protests. The US has been the leading financial and arms donor to Ukraine and a key sponsor of sanctions against Russia and has already sent high-ranking officials to Kyiv, as well as several European leaders who have traveled there to pledge their support.